earrings on is a fashion arrest. I want to introduce one of my closest friends on the planet, what I call my safe space, my well. I go to deposit what I'm ready to release in her and with her, and I go to pick up what I need next to keep moving forward. She's the one who climbs in my bed, and we sit and we take off every cape that we've decided to put on. And we're no longer super women, we're just super friends. My friend, Sandra1. Sandra, have a seat, please. So I just asked Sandra, can we have a conversation? Now, it's a setup because I really don't want to talk. And she said, no, let's just do the Gail and Oprah thing. I'm like, okay, but I really want to get out of your way. So, you started your business in your garage.
Right above my garage.
Right above your garage.
Right above my garage.
Mm-hmm. And you changed your career.
Yes.
How was it in the beginning?
Okay, well, first let me tell you that how many of you in this room are 40 and above? I just want you to know that I started doing the network when I was 40. So my message is, it is never too late, right? It is never too late, right? And it was rough. I mean, it was rough. Two years into it, I was on the brink of bankruptcy. You know, I just thought I was going to make so much money so much faster, and it just didn't pan out for me. I had a lot of lessons to learn. I just, I started out just ignorance on fire, just being really excited about myself and what I wanted to do. And the truth of the matter is, and that's why you're here, having the self-inspiration is important, and that is a common thread that I think must exist the entire time. No one is responsible for inspiring you more than yourself. And you have to own that, because your job, whether you know it or not, is to always be inspiring others. But it must be filled from a well, my belief is, of self-inspiration. You can't give what it is you don't have, right? So you've got to take responsibility for inspiring yourself so that you can attract, world-class leaders. You can attract. Am I showing?
No, but so you don't. Take no pictures.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. See, girls looking out for girls.
Always.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to be able to attract, your A-team, and you have to know that the people in your life right now are in here, in your life, many of them for a season. I talked about that yesterday. It's painful. Not everybody is going to be comfortable with the incredible, phenomenal person you are becoming. So some people will be in your life for seasons. You're going to run into morons.
So just so we know, because we want this to be a dialogue, not a monologue, where you're speaking back, every time you hear you, to the degree that you hear you, one hand up. If it's really what you need to hear, okay, got it. You don't have to say anything, because this is talking to us. And it's just a way that it's a dialogue to her, so she goes, okay, I see who I'm talking to. So how many of you guys, just on that last note, you recognize that some people are in your life for a season, and in order to get to the next best version of yourself, you have to love them from a distance? Yes. Okay, great.
And I just want to say, I'm going to be real with you. You're going to run into morons. You're going to run into people, right, who are going to want to stop you. You're going to run into people who will never get you. Your job is not to convince them. I want you to write this down, okay? It's called SW to the fourth power. Ready? Some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. And when you spend your valuable time...
But hold on.
Say that again?
Right, you can't just drop no diamond like that. And then keep going. Right, rinse and repeat.
Right,
Okay.
some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. And time is the most valuable asset. Now, I'm 54 years old. One of the things I'm really clear about...
And hot.
One of the things I'm really clear about is I have fewer tomorrows than I do yesterdays.
Yeah.
Right? Time is the one thing we just give away. We spend it like there is no tomorrow, and yet we can never buy it back. So I'm really clear in this season of my life that I'm only hanging around people that I connect with. I'm done convincing. I talked about it yesterday. What
One
did I
hand
say?
up, 2 hands up if that's you.
Right? All the VIPs in the room. What did I say? I said I'm done convincing. I'm not saving. Saving is for Sunday. Okay? No is an acronym for next opportunity. It just means move on. You spend your valuable time trying to talk people into doing business with you, and then these are the ones that are going to just like suck you dry, right? They're never going to be happy. You're never going to deliver enough. They're always going to be using that for the next freebie, for the next discount, get their money back. And then they come in, and then they're like, what was Susie doing?
Do me.
Do me. And then now they're corrupting everybody else in your audience. Like, do not get caught into convincing. I spent too much time doing that, and then I got to spend 2 times, 3 times, 4 times the time undoing the damage that not only have they done in my community, but to me.
So let me ask you a question. How much, what belief system did you have to get over? What I know, I want you to talk about what you have to do, so I'm going to do a little snapshot on where you come from. You come from a single mom who didn't speak any English, so who couldn't get a job because she didn't have a driver's license. And so she struggled. You were put inside of an environment where you had to work. You are a first-generation American, and that don't come with, that's not grace and ease. So all of a sudden you have this breathtaking life. You're in the top 1% of women income earners in the world. In the world. In the world. Like,
Go, Sandra!
so how did you leave that mental zip code? Don't y'all want to know that?
Yes.
Because you get the tools and techniques, but if your mind is still in this zip code, you're going to slingshot back to this zip code every time you go. So what did you have? I want you to go back. I don't know how long you have to do. We'll go back. What did it feel like when you start getting scared? What did it feel like when you start seeing, I'm not robbing Peter or Paul. I'm not running out of money before I run out of month. I'm not. What happened when you hit your own ceiling so you can expand your ceiling? Because it was a 1-story first.
Right.
Now you're living inside of a 20-story mindset.
Right.
How did you push past some of those limiting beliefs?
Well, I've realized I've always
First,
been...
what was some of them?
Well, so, clearly, I'm multi-racial, multi-ethnicities. My mother's a Lopez. She's from Mexico, half black and half white. My father's French-Canadian. And so my maiden name was Goulet. My mother's name is Lopez. So I'm Hines, 57 right here. And let me just tell you, my father died on my birthday when I turned 5 years old. I've never met a grandparent. Like I was sitting next to your grandmother in the back of the room, just, holding her hand and rubbing her back. Because my mother was an orphan, raised in a convent by the nuns. And my father's family disowned my father when my father married my mother, because it just wasn't a cool thing at the time. And so when he died, they didn't even come to the funeral. And for a long time that bothered me, Lisa. And I had a lot to undo around tapes of me being a product of a not okay situation.
Stop, pause. I got to pause for y'all. Did you hear what she said? I had a lot of undoing. I had to really undo a lot of tapes. Some of you came in the room with the tape. The tape is how you bond.
Yeah. Everybody's got their story. I mean, I got mine, you got yours. Who's in the room's got a story? Okay, so here's my number one message to you, because I am about kind of making it simple. I'm not a very complicated woman, and I think we overcomplicate our lives. And I'm just going to tell you, here's what I've had to learn. When your past calls, hang up. Stand up if you get me. When your past calls, hang up. All right? Honestly. It's got nothing new to share with you. All right? Now, I'm not saying you ignore your past. You've got to stop for a moment, reflect, and learn your lessons. But once you've got your lessons, you can't keep going back. Now, I've always been a good listener, so I've always had someone talking to me, right? But I've just learned that, there's quality conversation. And then there's hold back, you don't deserve it, dysfunctional conversation.
Yes.
And so I've just decided that I'm not going to listen to this conversation. And so I've had to find and hang around with amazing people like Lisa, so that when I do start having this conversation, I now notice it. And when I can't quiet it down on my own, because none of us makes it alone, I have some phone numbers in my cell that I can pick up and call. And honestly, sometimes our calls are 5 minutes, and sometimes they end up being, days, literally, at a spa.
Well, sometimes if we call one another and we see it's a true 911 SOS, because we have resources, we go, where are you?
Yes.
I'll come to wherever you are.
That's right. It's true.
So I was at a retreat, and this is set up. I was at a retreat in January, a detox retreat. You don't eat meat, don't eat bread, don't eat pasta, don't eat rice, you don't eat anything cooked. It's all raw.
Which has not been my typical definition of a retreat.
And so I told her I was at a retreat.
A retreat.
That's what they call it in their marketing. And they just call it a detox retreat. I left off detox. And I was really working to get myself together emotionally. And there was nothing emotionally out of balance. I just knew my year coming up. So I needed to breathe. I needed to practice breathing and meditating and exhaling and going to bed and really getting 8 hours sleep. And I just went to this detox retreat just to clear my body so that my tool is ready for my future. And Sandra sent me a text, and she was already on the second week of January. She's already gone to 9 states or something crazy. And she was fussing about it. And I was like, I went back. You do not get to fuss without being in action. Come with me. So I made it sound like this was the solution for her. She says,
I'm at a retreat. Why don't you
Why do you say it like that? I'm in a retreat. I didn't say that. It was a text. I didn't say it like that. I'm at a retreat.
Girl, when I got you on the phone, you said, this is a retreat. I mean, there was music.
How did she see my
Does she do anything like this is a retreat? I mean, does that even sound like Lisa? No, you had some music in that retreat.
A friend, a trust, and someone who you have to be so willing for your radical breakthrough that you sometimes walk towards something without knowing the details because you know it's right. Sandra got... It's what I do. It's what I do. So Sandra packed her bags. She had a house guest at her house. And I was like, is your husband still there? She said, yeah. I said, okay, leave him.
It was a woman. I said, you're going to be with my husband for the next few days. I'm going to San Diego.
And she packed her bags. She got off the plane and texted me, okay, where do I go? I said, oh, here's the address.
She gave me the address.
So she came, and then I told her.
I pull up to this place that's like behind, locked,
gated, because you're not eating
it wasn't no gate.
It's gated.
There was bars.
There was bars.
There's a difference between a gate and a bar.
And then
there were bars around this place. Like you get in, you don't get out. Kind of bars.
You chew 3 days out the week, and for 2 days you only drink live green juice. Well, she happened to